Hello everyone and welcome to this week's game development log video diary, and this week I started working on visual effects. So the first thing that I had to do this week was to create the base meshes that these effects would be rendered onto, and I created 5 different base mesh types. The first one here is just a plain and simple quad, nothing exciting there. The second one though is a bit more interesting because it is a quad, but it always rotates to face the camera, exactly the same as the quads that the particles are rendered onto. Over here I've got a similar thing going on with this quad, which always tries to face the camera as well, but this time its rotation is restricted to a certain axis, and this sort of base mesh is obviously going to be absolutely perfect for beam attacks. Finally, we've got these last 2 meshes over here, one of which is a cylinder and the other of which is a simple cone. And of course the dimensions of all of these meshes, the widths, the lengths, the radiuses, can all be changed for each effect. Then onto these base meshes I can of course render a texture. So for example, I made this quick texture and I rendered it onto a rotating quad, and then I put it next to this lamp here, which gives the lamp a nice glowing effect. And eventually I'll add support for this into the entity editor so that I can properly add these effects to any light that I want. And it doesn't just have to be a single texture that I render onto these meshes. I can also do the thing that I did when rendering particles, where the texture is animated by linearly fading it between different stages of a texture atlas over time. And you can see an example of that being rendered on this quad here. As well as using animated textures, I can also just blend 2 textures together onto the mesh and then animate them by changing their properties. For example, here you can see that one texture on this cylinder is continuously scrolling around, while the other is slowly changing its intensity. And absolutely any of the properties of these effects can be changed in any way over time, such as the colour, the size, the transparency, and anything else like that. And so this will allow for a huge range of possible effects in the future. So right now these effects don't really look that fantastic, but now that I've programmed the basics of these effects, I can go on to create an effect editor tool, which will allow me to easily create nice looking attacks and effects for the game. And so in the end, with a few particle effects as well, I think these effects could end up looking pretty nice. In other news, there are also a couple of new weapons in the game this week. So there's this lovely looking scythe model, and there's also this dangerous looking flaming sword. Finally this week I've been going through all of the names that you guys have suggested for the game over the last couple of weeks, and I've put together a short list of the ones that I think would most suit the game. And you can actually vote for your favourite name by clicking the link in the description, choosing your favourite name and then clicking vote. I can't guarantee that the one with the most votes will actually end up being the name for the game, or if it will even end up being one of the names from that list. Someone might come up with an amazing name tomorrow and then I might want to use that. But it would really help me if you could vote for your favourite, just to give me an idea of the kind of name that you guys like. So that is it for this week. If you want to see any extra videos or pictures of the game during the week, then you can follow me on any of my social media pages. Links are in the description below. But yeah, thank you guys very much for watching this video. Do subscribe if you haven't already. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you all next time.